and welcome.
Again.
Yeah. Do this. Yeah. Keep going. A little bit more.
No, I can't.
Is it right there?
I didn't have time to pull
get,
a lyric.
Hello and welcome to Slam Fire Radio.
That's what I've been
This is
thinking.
episode 359 for June 18th, 2020. I'm one of your hosts, Adriel.
I'm another one of your hosts, Kelly.
And I'm the third one of your hosts, Random Dave.
And the
And
fourth
we got a
one.
special guest.
And this is Denis.
I'm Denny.
I'm Denis. Okay. You will hereby be known as I am Denis. That is your name from now on. That's how we'll refer to you as.
Okay.
And you are in the show today. You're in the show.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Which will be a little bit different. Why don't we get right into that show thing that we're talking about? What we did in guns this week is brought to you by the Calgary Shooting Center, Canada's premier firearms retailer. Right now they have surplus Russian Mosin Nagants, moist nuggets, 29-inch barrel, 7.62 by 54 R, bayonet, woodstock, $400. Go on over to Calgary Shooting Center to pick one of those up.
$400. That's awesome.
They're
We should all get one.
surplus is weird right now. Surplus is always weird, but it's always interesting to see what's expensive and what the prices are of some things, because some of it bounces around quite a bit. Kelly, did you want to start us off?
Okay. So on Saturday, when I went to SFRC, they are open now. So they're open for business. They have reduced hours. Just everybody go and check their website if you're going to go out, because you might be surprised on their hours. It's COVID hours. So anyways, they're back to being open. I stopped in at the store because the CCFR AGM was on Saturday, and Kelly Kincaid, she's part of, like, we share brains and do everything together. She's working there. So she was also up for a director for the CCFR and for Ontario. So I went out there. I already knew that she was actually going to become a director and be elected. So I brought her like flowers and a whole bunch of different things just to say congratulations. But we sat there and we watched the AGM together with Marcy and Ryan, and she, as well as Jamie and Kelly, were both elected as directors. Now, Jamie, he was elected for 2 years, and Kelly is filling a vacated spot. So she's been elected for 1 year. So they're going to be fantastic for Ontario and for the CCFR. I just have to say they're going to be fantastic. And also SFRC still has, they have their new food truck. It's a chip truck. It's called 38 Special. They just went and got it wrapped. It looks really cool. But they also have a barbecue place that's there right now. And so I tried out the barbecue place. I had smoked wings because I'm ketoing, of course. And also I got a chance to speak with some of the shooters from Meaford. Hey, Dave, you remember Bud from Meaford?
I had a couple hundred people like all over me asking me questions about where things were. So I don't remember Bud now.
Okay. Well, Bud's been there every year, and he's also from Kingston. I met him one day at the range too. I didn't know he was from Kingston. Anyways, so I had a chance to
I would probably know him to see him, or I would know him if I saw what his gun was.
Yes, and yes, both of them. So you would know him to see him. So I had a chance to chat with him for about, I don't know, hung out with him for about half an hour. 45 minutes, whatever. I also got in this. I just have to let you guys know, I've been placing orders, shopping for stuff online. And by the way, all my packages have been delivered this week, except for one. And they're leaving everything at the door and not ringing the doorbell. So one of the things that came in was this. This is the Bolt Action Coffee. And the one that I got was Scopes Up. It is the medium roast, and it's delightful. Smells delicious. It came yesterday. It's put out by Call Sign 66. They roast it, and all the proceeds from it go to supporting veterans. So it's awesome. You guys should go and buy some at boltactioncoffee.com. And as I said, it's freshly roasted. It just got roasted this week, and I can smell it. It smells really good. The other thing that came in was the stuff that I'm wearing. So Colin Noir, he has some stuff for Canada. So I bought a hat. It's a flat brim. I'm not really sure if I like it because I don't have as big a head as I thought I did. Anyways, so the hat came in, and also the t-shirt. Let me show you the t-shirt. So it's keep it tactical, and it has a picture of Canada and an AR-15.
Cool.
So, Yeah, it's really cool. So if you have lots of money, and it came in a week, so that was the good thing. But our dollar sucks a little bit, so yeah. Anyways, I really like it. And if you're looking to buy the sizes, they're 2 to size. So just saying. I also ordered a mag release from Delas because that's the only place that had them for 1022. So that's my Father's Day present. So, and what else? Oh yeah, I went skeet shooting again on Wednesday night. So Wednesday night is going to be my skeet night with Kelly and Kyle Kincaid. So as
Cool.
I said, Kelly and I do everything together. So Wednesday nights we're going to go out. I also, this week sucked. Like it was bad. Last week I was able to hit 15 out of 25 clays, right? This week, not so good. So I also signed up for, there's going to be lessons on July 4th. So I signed up for that. They were free. They're giving them out at the club to club members. I'm going, count me in. And then I also have some lessons next week with the club president as well, because I really prefer to hit clays as opposed to miss them. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening. So
You
I'm going to
could
go
wait until they land and use a rifle.
Yeah. So yeah, the guy that was, yeah, he says, "You're a rifle shooter, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, yes, I am," because I can hit anything that is coming towards me. So from station 1, station 8, station 7, I can hit them, no problem whatsoever. But when you're at station 3 and 4 and 5, it's a little more difficult, and the reason is because I have to hit with such a lead, right? And I'm not able to tell what the lead is, or so basically 2 feet. Well, what's 2 feet when you really think about it from, anyways.
Ducks.
So
you need to measure in how many ducks forward it has to be, and then just
ducks.
swing through. Yeah.
You need to get an old Nintendo and just practice with Duck Hunt.
What I'm going to do this week is I'm going to actually practice with my thumb and tracking, and that's what I'm going to do.
You won't be able to knock the clay down like that.
I know, but I'll be able to follow a little bit more.
Okay.
I have to also I have to follow through too. I have to practice following through because I don't really. Again, I'm a rifle shooter, right? So, anyways,
follow through with a rifle too. Just different follow through, yeah.
Different. I have a lot of fun with that. So it's going to be a regular thing on Wednesday night. So at least one thing with shooting I'm going to be able to get to because it's on a weeknight, and yeah. So, anyways, nice. That's it for me. What about you, Dave?
I pulled up some show notes. Hold on. Oh, there we go. I did gardening, mostly gardening. I took a couple days off my regular job and worked at my secondary job, and then worked around the house, did some gardening, washed the house, doing all the spring stuff. I refurbished a Mac Pro tower from 2008 that was thrown out of my store. So I managed to get it up and running, replaced a few parts. So I have a free Mac Pro. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a crappy old one, won't run much, but I don't know Macs that well. So I decided I should learn Macs a little more, and I like playing with old computers, and it was free. So what the hell? I refurbish old computers as one of my other hobbies. So I have an entire stack, which you may not be able to see. This is all old computers everywhere. All this stuff.
Yeah, that would drive me insane.
Well, I have to clean up my room. I have 5 monitors sitting just outside the door. So I may have a problem. But most of it was free or cheap. So what the hell? And I like old machines. Cleaned a few pistols with guns. I looked longingly at my reloading stuff that's buried behind old computers and didn't do any reloading. I sorted some ammo and realized that I haven't actually reloaded since 2009. So I need to.
Wow. That's almost as old as that computer.
2007. I've got pounds and pounds and pounds of powder and thousands of bullets, and
the RCMP is listening. No, you don't.
I don't care. I sold it all last April. I have totes of brass that I've picked up off the range. Like I've got probably 5,000 rounds of 5.56 and 223 brass here
Unprocessed,
that I should get around to
obviously.
reload. Unprocessed, yeah, it's just sitting in bins.
You know, you can
So-
actually just sell that for cheap, right?
Yeah, and I might, and then I might do, what was the Black Weasel or whatever? What the heck was that ammo that the already prepped brass that Trevor was?
Was it Blackout
in.
or Hammer or?
Black Sheep Brass.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh, yeah.
guys, yeah.
Yep.
I bet you could probably get that from Denis too, couldn't I?
Not yet. Working on
Oh,
it.
okay. Well, let me know when you can get it, and maybe I'll order some. So I may get rid of this brass because brass prep sucks. I hate it. So, what else did I do? That was about it. Looked longingly at assorted guns. Wondered which of my guns were prohibited today, and wondered which of my bolt-action rifles were AR-15s, according to the RCMP.
Well, that's why
So-
Denise on the show.
Exactly.
He'll help us figure it out.
And that's it. Adriel.
Let's see. So I got some ammo in. I got a whole bunch of these guys in here. This
Oh yeah.
Federal 200 round packs. These are aluminum 115 grain. They're very light. I like that they come in 200 packs because for a 3-gun match, you need right around 200 rounds. So to grab one of these, throw it in one of my bins and roll out, that's kind of convenient.
How much?
That's cool.
You bought that on the show, not last
Yep.
week, but the week before. How much did it cost for the 200?
2,000. I got 2,000.
Okay, so you got 2,000.
Yep.
So how much it cost for the 2,000? Then we'll do the math.
$3.99.
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
that's not bad.
Yeah, it's quite good. $200
Yeah.
per 1,000. That's
You can't
decent.
reload it, but who cares? It's pistol.
Whatever.
I just can't be bothered. Like if it's $200 per 1,000, I just can't be bothered to reload. It's just clean the brass and blah 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 blah, and size them and gauge them, or just get a bunch of this garbage and don't worry about it.
Shoot it. And you said you're going to be using it on the CZ, right? And it should be able
I've tested that in the CZ and it runs fine.
It'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
Good.
Aluminum extracts okay? Nothing not coated with anything weird?
They recommend against it, but I've run like hundreds of rounds through mine and it's been fine. I keep the chamber clean because if the chamber is like a little bit gritty, aluminum doesn't extract as nicely as brass.
Okay.
Some PCCs really don't like aluminum, but this has been fine. According to the stats on the back, it should make power factor, but barely for 9mm. So I don't know. If I
Perfect.
really care, I'll test it, or I'll run like I got 124 and 147 and all sorts of other stuff for matches. So I could always do that. I got so on the last show I showed off the Winchester Wildcat. I actually got deeper into it and I saw a couple things that were kind of interesting that I missed the first time around, because there's a lot that's very different about this rifle. One, sling studs. It's got them. There's one at the back. It's molded in.
Yep.
Where's the one at the front? It's got this little cover thing here, and if you pull this this cover off, you get a sling stud and a little tiny section of pick rail.
Yeah, because why?
For a bipod or a sling?
Okay, bipod. Yeah. Or okay. So how flimsy is the studs? Like really? The one at the back is particular.
I don't think they would take. I don't know. It looks well protected. They're both well protected. Yeah, so I think it would be okay. Like normally the front sling stud, if you put a bipod, a sling stud style bipod on the plastic front swivel, those break.
Yeah.
But this is pick rail on the front, so use the pick rail. You're not going to snap that. So yeah, kind of an interesting thing. The other thing I didn't notice was how much plastic is on this thing. Oh.
One big piece.
You would be hard pressed to find steel right now. Okay, barrel, yes. Okay, the barrel. This pick rail, this receiver, it's plastic. It's all.
Is it really?
Plastic.
How do they mount the barrel into the receiver?
That's a good question. One that's worried me, but I haven't looked at it. So, like, there's the barrel sticking out there. It's in the plastic somehow. I would be willing to bet that that screw there has got like a block of some kind there, which is kind of interesting. And then on the trigger group, kind of reminded me of, and it hasn't been that long, but that Norinco knockoff of the Browning SA-22. This is really reminiscent of that. It's all together in one shot, and it's got recoil spring, and the striker is right there as well. It's all just kind of like in the setup right here. That was kind of interesting. You can get a better look at the bolt hold open right there. That's where the that little metal dealy there is pushing up on this lever, which then locks the bolt to the rear. And then the other interesting thing, look at that, it comes with the Allen key. Two Allen keys are like built into the trigger group. So if you need to like take it apart, the tools are in the gun. That's so neat.
That's pretty cool.
That's so neat.
So you haven't had a chance to shoot it yet. You didn't go shooting this weekend.
I don't think the accuracy is going to be very good.
No.
And the reason why I don't think the accuracy, like that, there's your accuracy right there. It's all in the trigger group, and that little bit there has to be consistent in how it holds in. And the trigger group moves just a little bit. And if the trigger group moves just a little bit, the bolt can move just a little bit when it's inside the gun. So I don't think it's going to be like fantastic, but that's okay. Like I don't think all guns need to have like the best accuracy possible. I think there is room for lightweight gun that's good enough on accuracy. So kind of interesting. Some stuff that it took me a while to see before it was like, oh, that's how that's working. Oh, that's how that's working.
Did you read the manual?
No.
No,
I didn't read the manual. Fine. I like to figure it out on my own over time.
That's how you end up in 5 years. You're looking at the gun. You're like, oh, hey, I never noticed that a little bit, which has happened to me before. I must admit.
How does that thing work?
I wonder how
my car's like that. Once in a while, I'll see something new in my car, and I'm like, oh, when did that get put in?
This is like, did you see that flip in here though?
Cool. It just flipped, but
ka-chunk, done, all back together. But there is just a little bit of wobble there, and again, that's connected to the bolt, and that bolt isn't affixed to the barrel in it, or even the gun in any other way. So if it wobbles there a little bit, there's
how much wobble was there? Like you put in the magazine last week. How much wobble was there compared to? You also put the 1022 magazine in there too. Yep. Was there a little bit of play with that as well?
Not in the magazine. The magazine is very firmly in there. Like when you take the trigger group off and you take a look at this red plastic thing, it is just a very flimsy U around here. It's okay in the gun, but like that part is not a very beefy part. And like back here is not very beefy either. There's a tiny little wire there. It's like there's some parts on here where I was like, oh, like if I had to get like a survival rifle, this would not be it. But
so if I take that to the range and give it to somebody, or I use it myself, and chances are I will break it with probably the first or second shot, because that's what I do to rifles. If they're flimsy. So how easy is it to replace some of those parts?
Oh, they're all right there. Like just because it comes out, they're all right there.
And how readily available are they though?
Not readily available, because this rifle is like very new. You can't even really find the mags in many places, right? Because the mags are,
and that's why people are using the 1022 mags.
Well, and because they probably have a pile of them. Like I have a pile of 1022 mags. Yeah. So
good design. What is that thing worth, Adriel?
$300, $309. That's what I got this thing for.
Basically, if it gets dirty, you throw it in the garbage. You buy a new one anyway.
Maybe. So I what I need to do is get out to the range, shoot it a lot, and see what kind of accuracy I get out of it. I would be worried that if I move things around or change the torsion on it, that trigger group might move, and I might see like a different point of impact for the first shot, for example.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe this is all for. Maybe I'm just worrying for nothing. I'm not worrying. I'm just thinking.
Given how much plastic is in it, I will be very interested to see how it is after like 5,000 rounds.
Well, like I think it would be like 5,000 rounds, and like if you were to go out hunting in -20 weather and get like rammy with the magazine and start ramming it in there, like would that break something that inside there? Or if you get a jam and you start like ripping on it, like would that break something? I think like those are the situations that are very hard to do, like or test for. That just based off the design, this might not do as well as a Ruger. But again, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just the design stuff in it is super interesting though. Like the like the stuff that I couldn't even see last week before I even mentioned it. Oh, and this is Turk. This is a Turk gun.
Huh.
This is made in
Oh.
Shiloh. Well, what's the company name? Sila, Silaah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, which is like a pretty well-known shotgun manufacturer, right? So it's kind of interesting. I wonder if Winchester is like, okay, like threw all these like weird features at them and like, okay, go make that thing now.
Or you can go and get a Bagara and get it like made in metal and nothing will break and you're good to go.
Bergara, $300.
No, it's 900, but
Or you could go buy 3 of these things and like, this one doesn't work.
just have a brace of them just in case. Just strap them all to your back like you're in some sort of an adventure game.
Yeah. And then I got some maple seeds coming up this weekend. First maple seeds of the
Yay.
year. Yeah, that's gonna be good.
Nice.
It's gonna be good. Getting all the stuff prepped up. Got a whole bunch of ITs going out. So should and the weather looks like it might cooperate.
I know.
I feel like I'm jinxing this just by saying it.
Yes, you are.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, Denis, what have you been up to in guns this week?
This week I've been really busy at the shop. I've been doing a lot of paperwork, accounting, inventory, all that nice stuff. We got a new POS system installed at the shop, so now we don't want to have to do paper handwritten invoices, so it's all on our new system. So just setting up the new system was a lot of work. So that's pretty much what I've been up to in the last week. 2 weeks ago, went bear hunting. And got
How'd
a
that
nice,
go?
good. Got a nice one. Well, same. Trevor and Galen got one. We all got it on the same night. It was 2
Nice.
weeks ago. Yeah. About 200 pounds. So yeah, nice bear.
Good.
And then this week was our 5th anniversary. So the shop opened July 16th, 2015. So it's been 5 years in business. So that's, and we got our new,
Congratulations, man.
yeah, thank you. And we
Yeah.
get our new POS system installed on the same day. So yeah.
Nice. It's a
Um,
good milestone for a small business. Congrats.
yep.
Yep.
Yep. It's been a lot of work, but yeah, worth it. So then after all that paperwork and inventory stuff, finally got back into doing actual work, actual gunsmithing today. I Cerakoted a scope. I had a customer bring me a Browning Else Canyon. So it's Cerakoted burnt bronze from the factory, and he wanted the scope to match it. Well, I have it right here.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yep.
So yeah, Cerakoted
Nice.
the scope in burnt bronze to match the rifle.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yep. Yep.
Pretty.
So
I like
No,
that
yeah,
burnt bronze. That looks
it's a
good.
really nice color. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it too. Yeah. So now that finally back to doing gunsmithing work. So I haven't done much in the past few weeks. So now we got a lot of work to do. So I'll be busy probably for nonstop for the next month or so. So yep.
Wow.
Awesome.
Very
yeah,
nice.
that's about it.
Cool. Let's get into upcoming events. Upcoming events is sponsored by Telos Alpha. Telos Alpha is a Canadian digital agency that works exclusively in the firearms vertical. They help with business processes, strategic planning, websites, e-commerce, and battling the stigma that the industry carries with banks, merchant processors, and social media. Oh, I just heard whose payment processor just went down.
I don't know. But
Oh, I didn't put it in the news. Someone just mentioned that their long-term payment processor had just ditched them because they
Because
are a
of
gun shop.
Really?
Yeah.
So
no,
whoever-
global payments, I believe.
Global payments. Yeah, that's a big one.
Pretty sure it was Global Payment, and that's who I use at my store actually. So I need to do some research on that because if that is true, goodbye. Using them for 20 years and they're gone.
That's
If it's
the
true.
appropriate response, I think.
Mm,
They shall receive a letter indicating exactly why they were fired.
Telos Alpha's mission statement is empower and enable our clients to grow, thrive, and ascend to their maximum contribution in the firearms industry. Underscores everything they do. They are firearms enthusiasts and understand firearms culture. They hold webinars to help firearms businesses get the edge and succeed, and are involved in the industry at all levels. They're committed to the success and growth of the firearms community, culture, and lifestyle in Canada and the United States. Learn more at telosalpha.com.
Nice. I think I'll contact them.
Yeah, that's why I asked who to put in your POS system. Okay.
Yeah.
Upcoming events. Kelly, do you want to take this one?
Okay, so the 5th annual Rendezvous Group Memorial Steel Challenge is happening on July 4th. It's USPSA Steel Challenge rules and stages. There's going to be 7 stages. There's going to be 7 squads of 10. Trevor's already talked about that. You'll be getting emails about who you're squatted with, what your times are, what station you're going to be going to, so that you can do the whole social distancing stuff. It's going to cost you $25. There's, I don't know how many spots are available. It says 50 here, but I'm sure that that's gone down. So you can go to practicescore.com and 5th annual Ronnie DeGroot Memorial Steel Challenge and check it out, and you can register for it there.
Awesome. Onto the news. I think one of you guys put in like all the donations.
I did.
Oh, yeah, I like it. Because like, I don't know, like I probably missed some of these, right? So there's been a bunch of.
Yeah, there's been a bunch.
Yeah. Do you want to go through these?
Okay, so I just want to let you guys know about a couple of things prior to that. Bullseye London has now opened up their new store, and they are now called Bullseye North. And they are a shooting superstore. Just wanted to say congratulations to them, because this reminds me, because Bullseye actually, and their customer base, donated $7,000 to the CCFR. I'm going to go through this, and I'm just going to give you who it is and the numbers as well. SFRC, they donated $4,000. One of our listeners, Chris Titchler, he had a CRPS event at Warren Fields. He did a donate. He went around and asked for donation. He collected $300 for the CCFR and sent it to them. That's from this past weekend.
Nice.
Yeah. Medicine Hat Rifle and Revolver, $500. Regina Wildlife Federation, one of the federations, $10,000 donation. Bruce Peninsula Sportsman Association was $2,000. Calgary Rifle and Pistol Club was $500. Guelph Rod and Gun Club, we know some people who actually belong to that club. It's $10,000 they donated. Nova Scotia Rifle Association was $1,850. I thought that was a great amount. Creston Valley Rod and Gun Club, Dante Sports, Moose Creek Wildlife Federation, they all donated $500. Melville Road Gun Club donated $750. Ipsic, New Brunswick, congratulations to them. They're challenging, I think, other Ipsic associations. They donated $2,000. The Atlantic Marksman Association, that's out in
Melville?
No, it's the Atlantic Marksman.
Oh,
yeah, it's in Nova Scotia. It's at Dartmouth. They donated $2,000. Wolverine Supplies. Okay. So Wolverine Supplies is part of the whole challenge, but they're also donating towards the challenge. So they donated $2,500. Prairie Gun Traders, $1,000. Our sponsor of the show, Calgary Shooting Center, they donated $5,000. Recreational Firearms Community Saskatchewan donated $5,000. Regina Association of Practical Shooters, $2,000. Ipsic Canada, $2,000. New Brunswick Reloaders Club, and this is a Facebook page, they donated $900. CKG, which is a Canadian knife and gear company, they donated $6,000. Abbotsford Fish and Game, $5,000. Lone Butte Fish and Game was $1,145, as well as Vernon Fish and Game Club donated $2,500. And that's all been posted on the CCFR page in the past 2 days.
Awesome.
So that is fantastic. So we're just challenging any of those federations, associations, ranges, individuals, companies to donate as well. So thanks, everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's going to be an expensive, long fight, so everybody can chip in a couple bucks and a couple bucks to the CCFR, whatever you got.
Next up, Wolverine Supplies.
Won't need all those boxes of ammo if you don't have a gun.
No, and you don't need a IPSC if there's a municipal handgun ban and all the big cities are keeping all their handguns out, right? Wolverine Supplies is doing a video challenge on training drills called TAC Fit.
Mhm.
Kind of a neat idea. It lets people try social distancing and try a shooting drill. So the idea here is they put up a video that shows like a course of fire, and you go do the course of fire, and I don't know, get in shape. Not a bad
Yeah.
idea for us right now. When
So Wolverine Supplies is doing also Sierra 64 Riflecraft. They were doing it as well,
Mhm.
and they've posted on their website or their Facebook page. Who else has been doing it? I've seen a few of them doing it. There's something that you can do with the the Canadian University Shooting Federation as well. You can
Mhm.
go and shoot their targets. There's all kinds of stuff out there that you can get involved in and keep fit and shoot. Anyways.
Yeah. Cool idea. Love it.
Fun.
Yep.
Nice and easy. Next, Saskatchewan is moving to ban cities and municipalities from banning handguns.
Yay!
So you can ban, but Saskatchewan will ban your ban.
If they ban the ban of the ban.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Alberta and maybe even Ontario might do this at some point too, right?
Well,
I hope Ontario does, because that would just infuriate Toronto. That'd be hilarious.
Doug Ford is saying that he's considering it,
Yeah,
but
I wrote him.
I don't know if that'll happen. It's Toronto.
Saskatchewan's going to happen. Alberta's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
they're
the
not getting
idea
many
here
votes
is
in Toronto anyway, so whatever.
the idea is that municipalities are the purview of provinces. That's how that thing
Mhm.
works. So the feds
Yep.
can't skip. They can't jump directly to the municipalities and start talking about whatever weirdness they're going to talk about, whether it be banning handguns entirely or central storage or whatever cockamamie idea they're going to
Yeah,
come
because
up with.
guess what else? Guess who funds those police departments that are going to be doing all this? The provincial
Provinces,
government
municipalities.
actually helps fund those. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So,
no.
yeah, I think it makes sense to do that. I'll skip the next
Saves
one
money.
here because we're gonna mention this one in a minute anyways.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna move the Duria one down. And actually, one thing that Trevor shared with us just before the show today was that Kylan Langman has got a peer-reviewed article published in a journal, which means something. So scientifically, to have a peer-reviewed published article means that not only did you have some other people who know what they're doing look at your journal and say, yeah, this is all accurate, but it also published in a journal. Publishing generally comes with some academic rigor as well.
Right.
This was on the effect of Canada's gun control on homicide and suicide rates. Now, I mean, if you're the part of the unwashed masses and you just look at the trend, you might be like, oh, it's going down. It worked. But what you wouldn't realize is that it was
It's
going
been going
down
for
already.
years.
Yeah, it's been going down since the 80s. Really around the 70s and 80s. That was really the peak of homicide in a lot of different areas, and it's been going down for even the U.S. The U.S. It saw a similar decline in homicides over the same period with no attributed gun control in there.
There's some articles that were done and peer review studies done in Australia and New Zealand as well that found the same thing.
Yeah, and I mean, depending on who you ask, some people say like, "Oh, more guns is safer," and some people say less guns is safer. And the reality is, boring. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. The effect that it has, if you can find it, is not statistically insignificant, but very close to statistically insignificant. I believe that Kylan found a statistically significant connection between suicides of older males and one of the age groups of females and availability of firearms, but not a reduction in morbidity, which means that the same amount of people died. They just hung themselves instead of shot themselves.
That to me is always the very interesting thing when people are talking about gun bans. They'll go, oh, we ban guns and look, there's a reduction in firearm suicides and declare victory. But did less people actually die? Oh, well, that's not important. People didn't shoot themselves.
Yeah, that's
kind of an important thing.
That's typically the numbers that when people quote numbers from Australia, that's typically what they'll do is they'll quote a reduction in firearms homicide.
Right.
But
However,
actual
there's-
homicides, yeah, the effect on actual wasn't there.
Homicides are going up that are related to knives or machetes or bats or
Yeah, and not they like despite the fact that guns are more deadly than knives and all, and hanging yourself
they're
and all
more
that kind of
lethal.
stuff.
They are.
No reduction in morbidity, no statistically significant reduction in morbidity on suicides or homicides in Canada for the last 40 years.
Let's link in
Yep.
when Kalen's here, because I think he's going to be coming on. I would like to also look at drugs and the effects of drugs and overdoses. With
Oh,
this
everything like everything else
That
was
has gone through the
was yeah. Like the problem with gun control is that when you try to tease out the impact of it, it's so hard. You have to apply some really heavy duty statistical analysis to pull out the effect if you can find it. Because usually what happens is other things take precedence. Employment rates, drug use, all these other
COVID.
societal
Poverty.
issues.
COVID.
COVID, yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. COVID's driving some people nuts.
It is.
Well, of
Yeah.
course. And I'll talk to people, and it's interesting because I'll have people say, "Oh, well, this just makes sense that you'd have less guns, you'd have less people dying." I'm like, but why does that make sense? Like that's
Well,
like
it
saying if we ban
seems to
hockey
be-
sticks or knives. I mean, it's not actual common sense.
It like to a layman, it would. If
Yeah.
you would say that this many homicides are guns, okay, we'll ban guns, and then we get rid of that number of homicides. Well, no, you won't. Oh, why not? Oh, well, because they'll find other means. Like if you
Because
if you
guns
ban
don't
all
cause
handguns in
homicide.
Canada right now, ban all handguns. If in Toronto 80% of handguns being used by criminals are smuggled across the border, that doesn't even mean you get a 20% reduction. That means you likely get 5 less, because the replacement ability for criminals to get their guns from smuggled means is just so high. You won't get that full 20%. Most people will think, oh yeah, we ban handguns, we get rid of handgun murders, but you would be lucky to see a 5% impact on handgun homicides in Canada. If you banned all of them, you'd be lucky to get that.
I don't think you'd even see that. You'd just see a few more, maybe some more knife killings or baseball bats or
You definitely
golf
would.
clubs
You
or
definitely
bare
would
hands or
see
whatever.
more of those. You'd also see more just smuggled handguns being used.
You
because
bet.
those
Exactly.
that is the method that most
You're
people use
creating
right now.
more of a market for it. And by the way, people who actually buy the smuggled handguns, they're not going to be one turning them in. Two.
No.
You know, they'll continue using them and they'll be buying more.
Yeah. Anyways, it's a really interesting study, and we will post it up on our Facebook, because if you're into stats, you're into nerd stuff, it's good. It's got all that stuff in there. Just dig into it.
Hopefully, Kayla will come on and talk about it.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
I would love for him to come on, because that's it's I like the dispassionate view that it is, and I like the because like on this topic, if you find someone who's willing to study it, usually they're biased all to heck. So to find someone that says like, we looked at all this and this, and it's not pro or con, doesn't matter, it just doesn't have an effect, and that's a dispassionate response to analyzing it.
Well,
And
it's
that
an
is hard to
analytical
find with-
response
Yes,
as opposed to an emotional response.
which both pro and anti-gunners would have when they
Absolutely.
start looking at the
huge.
stats. Yeah.
Yeah, people have a conclusion and then they find the proof to work
Yeah.
towards their conclusion. So here's
Correct.
what we decided, and here's all the evidence, and we'll just discard all that other stuff that's crap because it doesn't line up with our viewpoint.
Said the people who think the world is flat.
And
What?
still do.
What do you mean?
Still
What
do.
do you mean the world's not
You still
flat?
do? Adriel.
I heard the sun's flat now. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Well, obviously the world's flat. You live in Alberta, jackass. I mean, you can see most of the way to Ontario with a pair of binoculars.
No. Saskatchewan. That's flat.
Yes.
Alberta, it's got mountains. So dumb.
Edmonton's pretty
I mean,
flat.
out at the west
that's
end,
true.
they're just flat anyway. It's just an
Anyway.
optical illusion.
Yeah. Okay. New gun stuff. Rangeview Sports has the Savage 64F for $159. That's pretty cheap.
Yep.
Wolverine Guns and Tackle is pulling their support from Ducks Unlimited. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And let them know why. ATR. Oh, there we go. ATRS. ATRS just had their payment processor go anti-gun, so they're down to cash, check, or EMT at the moment. They might have already gotten their new payment processor going. I'm not sure.
And go and support them.
Yeah. Delask has a new Ruger 1022 extended mag release. And bolt hold open. And that's the kind of interesting. I'm going to show this thing on screen just so that so that people can see it. So we've seen these before, these extended mag releases. We haven't seen that little doohickey over there, because usually when you put this thing on, it like blocks, like it's kind of hard to get to the bolt release. And now they put a big honker on there, and it's way easier to hit it.
Yep.
Very interesting.
It
and
is
I think
very
their
interesting.
price was like pretty much comparable with other extended mag releases. 59
Yeah, it was
bucks.
59. Yep.
So
good. Or you can take the whole package out and just drop in a new trigger package, and it'll cost you $350 or $400.
Oh, money bags over there.
Yeah, no.
This whole gun was 300. What are you talking about? A whole trigger pack for 350.
Miss Trigger Snob. I am actually thinking of putting a new trigger group into my 1022 for this year, because I mounted a fancy scope on it that I got cheap. So we will need to talk about triggers, because after I shot a 1022 with a nice trigger in it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what they were talking about. Crap.
Yeah.
Garbage.
We had
it's a hobo trigger.
I had a 2-hour conversation with somebody about triggers for 1022. So we were talking about the different ones and what they had, and I had the kid 2-stage, and we're going. And people were asking for recommendations, so we gave them a recommendation. Here's the pores, what you do, and here's actually what you do if you buy one that's going to be $400, $500 more than the actual 1022. But
I think that's called pay to win. Pay to win at Maple Seed.
Yes.
Yeah, you get that better trigger, boom, instant rifleman.
Yes,
right?
Of course. Yeah. You don't
go
need
buy it
any
from
skills.
Cabela's using our link.
Denis, do you have any sweet 1022 triggers there, or sweet 22s that have awesome triggers?
Not in stock. No, I have a few 1022s on order. I don't have any left right now. I'll get some next week. No triggers in stock though. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah. Well, they're pretty pricey, so I imagine the margin on them is quite high.
Yeah.
Sounds like the buyer is willing to spend a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Depends on what you want to do with that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like having a good trigger on a match rifle, or one that you use on small game, like a good trigger on a gopher gun makes a big difference.
You bet.
More hits. Yeah. Why don't we get on to our main topic? So for our main topic, we've got Denis here, and Denis has access to the FRT and is able to look through it and see what's going on. One thing that happened since last week is that this Duria Mark 12, which I hear is an AR-15 rifle, that was banned.
Yeah, it's about as much of an AR-15 as my Mosin Nagant is, but whatever.
Yep.
So, Denis,
Yes.
is that what's that behind you? Oh no, that's okay. We were talking about it before we came on.
Yep.
And I asked you if you received any notification with respect to the Duria now becoming prohab.
No, not at all.
Yeah, how'd you find out about it?
On Facebook.
Okay. So
any gun that's been added to the list since May 1st, we haven't had any notifications. I've all seen it on social media.
How are they supposed to notify you? Are they supposed to notify you? Are you supposed to just guess?
I do have access to the live FRT, but that's a database with millions of guns in there. So I'm not going to go through all that info every day just to see what's new. So, but
you don't do an FRT check on the way out as you're selling again. Wait. Let me see if this has become prohib in the last 5 minutes or so. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
Not a business process.
You'd think since it's a database, they'd just have a query that would pop up anything that's changed in. Just do a search. What's new in the last 2 weeks or 5 weeks or a month or whatever. Being a database.
I think that would show their hand a little bit too clearly.
So there's all kinds of different databases. The FRT, you have the verifier, which is a live one. We still get messages. We were getting messages yesterday when we were talking about you coming on to do the show, and people were saying, well, where can I get a live version of this? Where can I, as somebody from the public? You can't.
No,
So,
you can't.
right. So you're a verifier.
Yes.
As a gunsmith, you have the ability to check, and it's supposed to be live. So, but
well,
how are people supposed to know if they're firing for prohibit or not?
Even the business verifier is not up to date.
Correct.
Because at first I was getting messages like when they buried the typhoon, when they banned the typhoon, I was getting messages and I was looking up the FRT and I was like, no, it still shows as non-restricted.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was looking up the business FRT, and then I applied to have access to the verifier FRT, which only took about a week to get my login. And then I had access to it. I never even realized that there were two FRT database. And even for my verifier work, I was always using the business one. I thought it was the same thing, but no, there's the business, the verifier, and then there's the public one, which has even less info.
And it's a PDF.
Nice.
Thanks for that PDF. This 100,000 page PDF. Most
They
computers won't even load it.
They did do an updated version of the public one relatively recently.
Yeah, a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Denny, do you want to log into the FRT and check the Daria and see what it actually says now?
Yep, I'm logged in. Do you want me to share my screen or?
Yeah, I think so.
Did we figure that out?
I make you the host.
Okay.
And then you have ultimate control now.
Okay.
Look at me.
I'm the captain.
Where do I go to?
Adriel, I'm still gonna break that. If I'm going out to see you, I'll break out.
I'll love for you to break it.
Don't give her a plastic gun.
Just like even the bolt release on the side here, like it is a thin piece of plastic. It's a tiny little loop, and like it works. You can push it down and it works. But if it was cold or something like that, yeah.
So just leave it up there and put in your passwords and let us see it. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm already logged in. Yeah. There we go.
Awesome.
Okay, so if I go to Daria Arms, MK12.
One day you'll just log into the FRT and there'll just be a thing at the front that says everything's banned. You don't need to go any further.
Yeah. Don't worry about that.
No. So it's prohibited. Now, I was looking that up earlier, and here's something very interesting. So when I click on the notes about that model, it says right here, the design of this semi-automatic box-fed shotgun resembles, but it's not a variant of the AR-15.
Whoops, they forgot to update that.
And
get that out.
But if I click here to see the reason why it's prohibited, well, it says it's a variant of an AR-15.
So those two should be screenshotted and capped and filed so that it can be used for the court case. So it's saying over here and over here.
Yeah, I did that already. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
what about the Mark 10?
I was just going to ask that.
10, yeah, let's check.
I had a buddy who had one of the Mark 10s, and then they upgraded. Like the Mark 10, I saw it slam fire once or twice when just dropping the bolt on a shell that was in the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
But
non-restricted.
Hey, non-restricted. Okay, so if you got a Mark 10, still good for
quick.
3-gun. I mean, what this has done to 3-gun. 3-gun was actually really interesting recently in the last couple of years because we've had the guys running the box-fed shotguns, and those are more competitive than the tube-fed ones, which is actually a good thing because here in Canada, because of our restrictions, if we use U.S.-style divisions, there's not a lot of difference. Like, oh, you get a dot on your pistol. It's not a big deal for 3-gun because our pistol targets are like super close. On your rifle, you can have 2 optics. That's not a huge advantage. And on your shotgun, even a red dot isn't a big advantage. But a box-fed magazine with 10-round pump action shotgun magazines is a big advantage. So it was a very interesting. It made open more open. It made it so that there was a big distinction between those guys and the guys shooting TAC Ops and limited. And now with that gone, I guess they would go to the Mark 10, or I believe there's some bullpup Turkish shotguns that also take those mags. And people will be
Spectres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think this will push people to Mark 10s, or do you think people will hold off because
I think they're going to drop divisions. I think they're just going to drop down to like TAC Ops or limited, because it's not like you lose the money, or because the government's apparently going to pay us back from at one point or another, but eventually you're going to have like a safe full of guns that you can't use. So I think most people will drop to semi-tube fed or pump tube fed and run TAC Ops Unlimited, because the advantage of again running an open is usually a shotgun. What are the other guns that people were wondering about?
Somebody asked about crap, I lost it. Where the hell is it? Something with a U. Use a con.
Oh, the UseCon.
Oh, UseCon, yes.
UseCon.
I think that one is
ZK16
nailed. Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
Do what? SK16?
Zulu Kilo 16. ZK.
ZK16.
Oh, with a dash in there.
Oh. ZK16.
There is no 16. Sorry, Dave.
It's very good. That was Brandon asked about that.
Let's see
So,
if I just pull up all the UseCon, yeah, there's lots.
they don't know about it yet. Brandon, hide it.
So we already know that.
So, yeah, all these
Not sure about this.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
That's a lot of UseCons.
Yeah.
There's no 16 on there, but there's a 17, 15, 17.
Let's check 17. And
Can you check
non-restricted.
the Daria MK20? Somebody wants to know as well.
Yep.
So what we do know is that there's been 20 firearms added to the list in the past couple of days. So most of them
were AR-10s.
Yeah.
The ones I saw, they're AR-10s. They added a whole schwack of like Mini 14 variants and that kind of, and like really variants. They were Mini 14s with just different names on them. Not like the, claiming the Duria is a. Now, I wonder if they're going to say it's an AR-10 variant. Not that it makes a difference, but that seems like one of the only outs that they have on this. Not that they need them.
I don't see MK20.
I don't know. They banned that stupid little Plinkster.
Yeah.
Again, that's as much of an AR-15 as my Mossad Nagant is. So whatever.
Yeah.
Question for you on this, Denis. If it's in the FRT and it's prohibited, so some people were saying online that it's prohibited, but that's not actually the law.
I actually saw that. I'm not sure. I mean, personally, not taking any chances and selling guns that are. I'm not selling guns that shows as restricted in the FRT. But yeah, I've seen that too. So people saying that the FRT is not the law, so
it's not. But I bet if you got pulled over with a Mark 12, you're gonna catch a charge for it. You'll have to take it to court.
Yeah. So I don't see the MK20.
So I wonder how you. Does anybody know how you actually challenge this? Because clearly all these new ones they're bullshit. I mean, that's 100%. So how the hell do you challenge hundreds of gun prohibitions just as being they're lying? Because obviously they're lying. How do you challenge that?
Well, just like what the CCFR is doing, they're challenging it constitutionally. One reason is because it's a financial impact. Two, it's because we're being seen as people who are already committing an offense or set to commit an offense when it goes against so many of the different constitutional pieces themselves. So, but how can you choose it if it does?
But is that the so I guess if you can overturn the OIC, then they'd have to unrestrict everything that they have done as a result of, hey, it's an AR-15.
Correct.
Okay.
But you also have to challenge. So, for example, what we see here is the MK12, where it says that it's not in one piece it says it's not a variant of the AR-15, and over here it says it's a variant of it's been prohibited because it's a variant of the AR-15.
Yeah.
So those are the things.
Note to our RCMP firearms people that are following us right now, you better go change that.
Yeah,
get on that.
Andrew from the comments there, I can't find the Derya Mark 20 anywhere, so I'm not sure what the real product name of that one is, but it's not listed as the Mark. It's not listed as the Mark 20.
Okay, I can't find it.
Yeah, I can't find it either.
Because even if I put Derya and go to 20 gauge, nothing pops up. So.
Yeah, I was looking under the other ones, like the VR60 and that kind of thing, and I can't see a 20 gauge there. So I don't believe there's a Mark 12-ish 20 gauge. Might be one of the other tube fed semis that they've got.
Yeah.
Still listed on assorted distributors' websites as non-restricted. The MK20.
Does it have more information on what the product name is?
That's what I'm looking for. It's got a SKU number. Yes, two model numbers. One is the MK-20, the other is the ES-101S.
ES-101S.
Yeah.
I don't see anything for that.
Nope.
What was the other one? MK-20?
MK-20, Mike Kilo -20.
I don't see that either. So there might be another name for it.
Nope.
What about the Kodiak WK-180?
WK-180C. And non-restricted.
Non-restricted still on the WK.
Yeah.
Which is the rifle du jour if you shoot 3-gun, or the ACR or one of those other ones. Yeah. ACR is kind of pricey though.
A lot of money.
It's kind of pricey.
Somebody wondered about the X95.
Yep. Check.
Funny thing is about the bullpups, given how much the antis hate bullpups for no apparent reason, it's funny that those are the ones that'll probably be the hardest to say, oh, this is an AR-15.
Yep.
Yeah.
Non-restricted.
Non-restricted.
There is a restricted version, but with a shorter barrel. But
yeah. Non-restricted for likely most of the ones in Canada here. They'll be non-restricted.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Type 81.
Yeah, don't buy short barrel rifles.
The Type 81. Yeah, Type Space 81 should be just.
It's a full automatic. No, that's not the right
SA.
one.
Type 81 SA. If you search for
SA.
81 SA, it'll. Yeah, there it is.
There. Here we go.
Good to go.
Should be
non-restricted.
Really ugly.
Even the drunkards at the CFP, like they look at that, they're like, I don't think that's an AR-15. It's got wood on it. Looks weird. That is an AK-47.
Funny how the AK used to be the boogity-boo gun in the 80s, and now it's the AR, the one that survived the gun bans.
Well, the thing is, like, none of it gets reversed, right? Like, nunchucks are still illegal. Shurikens are still illegal. Like some of those multi-part staffs and some of the other, like all this like ridiculous like ninja weapon stuff that probably was never like maybe nunchucks were used in a crime. Maybe someone in the 80s or 70s like whacked someone with a nunchuck at one
Morning
point.
stars are prohibited, dude.
Yeah.
I was gonna go be a robber baron, but I can't because my freaking morning star is prohibited. That is bullshit.
And the thing is, like that was 79. Those things were all outlawed in 79. No one ever reverses.
Yep.
No one ever reverses this
No.
garbage that just stays in.
I think the problem is back then, you go back and you read the stuff about knives and assorted weapons, and I think that the people at the time that were banning all this stuff watch way too many 1960s, biker gang
movies?
rumble movies
Yeah.
and ninja movies.
Yeah, they watched that Warriors movie where there's the roving gangs.
Oh,
that,
come on, that was a
sing.
good movie.
They all have different jackets. They're like,
Come
whoa,
on.
whoa, whoa! Anything these guys have that looks kind of dangerous, we got to ban it. Well, the baseball bats we keep, I guess, but.
I had a coworker I used to work with, and he was from the Philippines. So apparently, the ball song is like a butterfly knife is like a big thing down there. It's like martial arts up here.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
what they do for
Yeah.
fun. And I'm talking to him one day, and he's like, "Yeah, I went and picked one up. I'm going to practice with it a little bit." I'm like, "Don't let anybody
No.
see that.
Yep.
It's just a bad idea, dude. Don't post that on Facebook."
Hey, Denny, while we're talking, can you look up the USCon TR100 for our friend Doug Rodenbush? Yeah.
There is a TR100.
Non-restricted. Yeah.
There you go, Doug.
What's that one
How
look
about
like?
the FD12? What the heck is an FD12? I don't even know that one.
The FD12.
Yeah, Foxtrot Delta 12.
Oh, Doug, that thing's toast, man. That
That's
the TR100. That's a matter of time, man. Just a matter of time. It's got a carry handle, and it's black. It's toast. That's an AR-15 variant for sure.
Carry handle equals AR-15.
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah.
Nope.
It's got a carry
See.
handle. It's a real crappy carry handle, but it's got a carry handle.
No, nothing
That's
shows
the
up for the
assaulting part.
FD12.
What's the
Okay.
FD12? Which one is that again?
I don't know. Nothing pops up. Is that the bullpup?
It's all one.
12
It's a
gauge?
Hurricane. Hurricane FD12. You might try
Oh, Hurricane.
Yeah.
Hurricane FD12. There we go.
So it's kind of true. Like we did this a couple of weeks ago, and the Daria was fine. And then, as we say, the RCMP were listening, and now it's this. So anything else that we want to put on this look up tonight? And we'll
Essentially,
come and visit it in 2 weeks.
Everyone in the comments asking questions. This entire thing is your fault. The CCFR is adding you to the lawsuit.
No, like if they didn't have an FRT, maybe. But look at what we're doing. We're looking up the database that they made. They made this database. There are pictures in this database.
Yeah,
they could just
exactly.
start. They could put some flunky, fresh out of college person and say, "Go look up all of these things," and they'd be done it in a couple weeks.
Well, I think
they
they
just Google it.
actually, I think they actually do put somebody in charge that is not gun literate, and the reason is because some of the pictures that they attach aren't the right pictures. Some of the stuff that they say about the firearm is not even anywhere near what the firearm is. So I think
the back in the day, the NFA had an interesting bit where they were talking about just the number of sheer mistakes that are present in the firearms registry, and it was pretty stunning. Just how inaccurate the whole thing is. Even the handgun registry. I mean, we've had it since 1934.
Yeah.
And it's garbage.
Yeah.
I had a buddy whose grandfather died like in the 80s. They never came looking for his pistol. I ended up with it about 2 years ago. They never came looking for it. Sitting in a dresser drawer for 30 years. Right.
Vince has a comment on the stream here. I nunchucked my nuts back in the late 70s.
But I was cool.
That's a real risk of nunchucks.
Okay.
Getting yourself in the nuts. Yep.
So
Go
for
back
those
around the back.
For those of us who were around in the 70s and the 80s, remember when we were kids and we had those clackers? Those were the real dangerous things. So nunchucks, clackers. Clackers was where it was at. And same with the lawn darts. I actually
If you're a real
lawn
stupid
darts.
kid, then yeah, I guess the lawn darts are, or if you throw them at
Let's
each other.
play catch.
I never threw it at my brother, but I did hit him with one. Stuck in his By the way, don't let me play, and also don't let me play the
Darts?
horseshoes.
Mm.
I also put one of those through a window of a car. So,
Yeah, I could see that.
Arguably
yeah,
pretty deadly. Those horseshoes are deadly, but still allowed.
those are all allowed. Horseshoes are allowed. Clackers are still allowed.
The darts, the lawn darts got banned. But
Oh,
the rest
well, they got those little weights on the bottom that are round.
yeah.
Those aren't. It's not fun anymore. Nobody wants to play with them anymore because it's not dangerous. So.
Yeah.
Oh hell, how about darts? My cousins used to throw them at each other. You get
It's fun.
a 3-inch dart stuck in your skull.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Vince was just mentioning, so basically semi-auto shotguns that look like an AR-15 are all banned, or is that still a foggy view? So Vince, a lot of them are banned now. And there's no rhyme or reason as to which ones are banned and which ones aren't. I would assume that if
They
you have
found out
one
about
that's not, that they're gonna get nailed eventually.
Yep.
Yeah. Once they find out about them via this show,
They
they'll
know about them. They're just I
I
don't know.
know.
They're pacing it out. They're pacing out their Gestapo marching over all of our firearms and property.
Yeah, it seems like the ones that are not banned are out of stock everywhere. So.
Yeah, shockingly.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
I wonder how much the Derrier Mark 12 sold after the initial. Okay, it's still not.
Actually, after the Typhoon got banned, I sold a lot of Darias, and well, now they're banned too. But yeah.
Yeah.
I know a few people who allegedly may have purchased them.
Well, I mean, if you were in 3-gun and you had a Typhoon, you'd be like, oh, crap. Oh, well, I guess I'll get a Duria. And now you'd be stuck with 2 in your safe.
That's kind of the danger, right? Like all of my competition rifles got prohibited. What the hell am I going to shoot competition with this year? I have to try and find the money to buy a gun, which is probably going to get prohibited anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like my deer guns got prohibited, so I don't know. I'll probably freaking use this is my deer gun this year. I'm gonna go enemy at the gates on the deer because I don't have anything else.
Well, it'll work.
Oh, it'll definitely work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Well, if we don't have any other questions for Denis, why don't we move on?
Move on.
Yeah. So Denis, can I pretty please have the host back?
Sure.
Can I be host?
Denis just starts laughing.
Yeah. Actually, I think I need to remove you, Adriel. This is my show now.
Okay, how does that work?
Just now slam Denis radio.
Yeah.
E-Fire radio.
Yes. Okay, so now you're the host again.
I am the host.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna say stop.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, Dave's gonna have to use the slingshot.
Oh man.
Yeah. It'd be
It's gonna be hard from 200.
It is. No, not good with a slingshot either. I'm actually really bad with one.
Sling bow? What if you put you just put an arrow in there instead of the rock? You fire that.
Ooh.
You could make them. You get a whisker biscuit. It's like a holder for the front, and you put the arrow in there, and then you pull it back, fire an arrow instead of a rock.
And Dave's name, right? David, and Goliath. Dave.
I don't think those are banned.
Dave.
I don't think those are even like. I could just give a kid a sling bow, right? No, a sling bow, like just a sling with that fires the arrows instead of the
actual bow.
Totally. I could give him like a broadhead on there too. We talk about like oh, you know what, those lawn darts, you got to ban them, but it's like I could hand a kid a slingshot with an arrow and a broadhead, and that would be legal. I could just give it to him. Like,
until next week, RCMP are listening. Remember, all right.
Couldn't discharge in some areas. Can't discharge a bow in a lot of municipalities. So like in Edmonton here, you can't fire a bow inside the city unless you're in like a bow place. Yeah. Anywho, listener feedback. So we've been kind of touching on the Facebook there, so we could probably move on from that one. Listener feedback. Yep. Listener feedback is sponsored by Armory DC Gunsmith. He's kind of a cool guy. Armory DC Gunsmith is a full-service gunsmith who specializes in firearms refinishing. He offers hot bluing, parkerizing, and Cerakote finishes, as well as wood refinishing. Check out his online inventory of new and used guns, firearms, accessories, optics, and more at dcgunsmith.ca. And are there any firearms that you just got in or that you think that are going to be hot sellers?
I didn't get a lot of new stuff recently. I had added a lot of stuff on the website in the optics and accessories section, and yeah,
That'd be accessories.
accessories. Yes,
And you've
Yes.
got a purple camo T&W ASR
Yes.
in the back there.
Yep. Yep.
It's pretty.
Yep.
That's non-restricted.
Pretty.
Yes,
That's
it
still
is.
non-restricted. Yeah, 9mm Glock mag.
I like how you
Nice.
said still.
I kind of want to go deer hunting with one like that, just to make people's heads explode, because that would make antis' heads explode. It would make hunters' heads explode too to go hunting with a 9mm PCC.
Yep.
Well, in Ontario, it seems that as far as I can tell from the requirements, it merely is a center fire of some sort. So.
In Alberta, it's center fire, minimum diameter of 24 caliber.
Yeah.
Which 9mm is bigger.
Mhm.
Use a 9mm.
Nice.
Yeah,
10
here
rounds.
it's the same thing. Any center fire.
Yeah.
And so this is
Cool.
where that whole thing about provincial regulations and how that all is so different
Nonsense.
depending on which province it is.
They should not, in my opinion, the provinces should not be different on hunting regs because they differ in stupid ways. Like
Yep.
center fire versus 24 caliber versus this one you can go bow hunting early. This one you can't. This one you can use a smoke pole, like a black powder rifle to go early. This one you can't. But it's like, why are these differences? Oh, no good reason. This place you can Sunday hunt. This place you can't. It's like this isn't
It's
this
all
isn't shit.
dependent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's too many optional controls being used when they should just stick to like a smaller set of mandatory ones. Control how many tags you give
Draws, yeah.
per WMU. That makes sense. Just do that. That'll be your limitation, not like all these other silly ones that we've got on top. Anywho, first email from Alex. I'll read this one and I'll get you guys to read some of the other ones here. Alex says, hey guys, the email is intended to add info on the Duria Mark 12 ban to the firearms news part of the show if you all choose to. Download the public FRT. The Mark 12 has been classified prohibited and referencing PFR Part 1, Paragraph 87, exactly like everything else was banned in the OSC and some. If you turn to the next page, you'll notice that in the model section, it is stated the design of this semi-automatic box magazine fed shotgun resembles, but is not a variant of the AR-15. Now, I'm assuming that the RCMP are changing the classification for the reason of being an AR variant. However, they did not change the model description and still classify it as not an AR variant. Even the Adler B210 has this is an AR style shotgun in the model description. I've attached photos of what I'm talking about in the email. Thank you for reading this and have a good one. Cheers, Alex. And we just did review that. Yeah.
Yeah. And we saw that as well.
The hypocrisy is on paper.
Yep.
Kelly, did you want to take this one from
Just
Ed?
a little
Ed?
kidding. It actually is an AR.
Yeah, kidding. Actually, we don't know what we were talking about last time. It's an
Yeah.
AR. We looked at it again. Drunk
Okay.
this time.
Yes. With glasses that aren't very good.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, from Ed, it says, hey guys, I was just wondering if flare guns are now prohibited. What are your thoughts, Ed?
Flare. Is he saying fleer?
No,
What's
flare.
a flare gun?
It's a flare gun that, so if you go boating.
F-L-A-R-E.
Yes.
R-A-R-E. I got
He
you,
was,
yeah.
he was saying it from a jazz hands kind of flare, but he meant the flare you fire.
Help!
Gun that makes you awesome.
Yes.
Well, because like certain bore is prohibited, but I believe some flare guns are not considered firearms, and I think you need, but neither are the other ones. I don't know.
So do we still?
Yeah, I'm
do
checking
we-
right now if it is in the FRT.
Because they were
you-
talking about some other things in the original OIC about, so we're not able to use
Can't have a tube.
rocket launchers, tube.
Some of those
I don't remember
some rocket
flare
launchers
guns.
are just a tube. They're like a very stupid tube.
Yep.
And that's the rocket launcher.
That's all an RPG is. It's literally a tube with a trigger on it.
Mm-hmm. And it goes bang.
Well, can you still have underbarrel flare guns, the 37 mils?
I thought a bunch of
Are
those
they, 'cause
37
they're not
mils were banned.
firearms.
I thought a bunch of those were
Or are
nailed.
they actually named? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, while Denis looks that up.
Do you have a model or a make of any flare gun? Or?
No, it's just
okay.
talking flare gun.
No.
I think we
some
can
of those
go.
flare guns are 12 gauge.
Yep.
Yeah. And you can actually fit a 12 gauge shell in some of them. And you can fire it once. And then the flare gun doesn't work anymore. Dave, did you want to take the next one while Denis looks that up? You're on mute. Yeah.
I'm unmuted. There we
There
go.
you go.
From Spencer. Hey guys, interesting episode a few weeks ago back on Canadian politics. It took me a minute to sort out the fact that you guys flipped the political colors around from what we use in the States. In the US, the red state is more conservative and the blue states are the liberal ones. This is more of and we call Coke. We don't call Coca-Cola. This is more of a geographic and demographic term in the US, though. We don't typically think of politicians by that color code, so we don't have blue Republicans. Instead, we have too many rhinos, Republicans in name only. I guess you guys would have Tino's your way, up your way. Tino?
Knows?
Figure that one out.
I don't know. Tell us what
Congrats
it
to
is.
Kelly for finally getting her victory. If you know, put it in the note. I really love mine, and there's a lot of parts out for it now. I got one of the first, can't pronounce that.
Volquartsen?
Volquartsen. Yeah, Volquartsen. Barrels made for it when I bought mine. Now it's also got a, oh my God, why do shotguns have stupid long names?
No, it's 22.
Cross?
22 stuff. Yeah.
22? Well, 22s have long, stupid names for things too. People suck at AR-15s. It's now got tandem cross trigger set up and some target grips to go with it. It's a great pistol and while not as accurate as my Buckmark target, it beats the rest of my 22 pistols by a good bit. Sorry to hear you guys are still in lockdown, but it sounds like things are easing up a bit. Here in Georgia, things are almost back to normal in a lot of ways. I'm working from home, bars reopening.
That's the important part. Bars are reopening.
Bars are reopening, yep.
Reopening here.
I know Georgia is taking heat in the press for opening too soon. Most of the folks here think it's better to spread the cases over summer than lock down and get a huge number in the fall. Besides, we're a red state, so the liberal media hates us anyway. Spencer and Smyrna.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it varies in Canada, it varies in the US as well. I was talking to, just before we started here, a client of mine in New York, and they can't do anything. Like 10-person max for gathering, and nothing's open like it is out here.
It depends on the state, because Michigan, which is just almost right below us, it's basically back to normal as well. So it all depends on which state it is. Also, New York State, totally different.
Got nailed pretty hard too. And it should differ, right? It should differ based on how risk tolerant the people are and how many cases they have.
Yeah. Well, and your population density and such too. I mean, if you're way up north in Ontario, whatever, who cares? You're probably fine. But downtown Toronto,
Toronto is still highly restricted, as opposed to they're in a different zone. Going back to the whole flare thingy, I looked it up a little bit. So they're coming 4 different calibers: 12 gauge, 25 millimeter, 26.5 millimeter, and 37 millimeter. And the first 3 are the ones that most people use. And yes, they have been used for weapons, but they're obviously used for safety for both.
Not good.
Yeah. So I found it in the FRT, and so I found one. Says it's a 12 gauge. What did it say here? A 12 gauge signal flare, and when you look in the description, it's so says for the purpose of sections and a whole bunch of different sections of the Firearms Act, the following weapons are deemed not to be firearms: any device designed exclusively for signaling, notifying of distress, for firing blanks, firing cartridge. The stud cartridges, explosive-driven rivets, or other industrial projects, and intended by the person in possession of it to be used exclusively for the purpose for which it is designed.
Okay, but somebody
So-
can also take it and use it to hold up a store because people it looks
Exactly.
like
So-
a pistol.
So the way
Right.
it is written is, so if you use it as a signaling device, it is not a firearm, but if you point it at someone, then it becomes one. That's
And
the
then
way
it
I
becomes
understand
the whole thing with respect to intent. Well, we
Yeah.
go down this rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
So
I hate intent laws. They're
I
so
know.
silly, and they're just a penalty for stupid people.
Right.
You got a baseball bat in your trunk. What's that for? Well, in case I get in a toss-up with someone. Oh, weapon. That's a charge.
Yep.
Why you got a baseball bat? In case a baseball game breaks out. Oh, no charge. It's literally a law against stupid people,
Yeah.
which I feel sorry for them.
So it's the same thing with bear spray. I'm going down this rabbit hole. It's the same thing with bear spray.
Mhm.
You're not able to have bear spray in your possession unless you might run into a bear.
I mean, downtown
Me.
Edmonton, there's all sorts of bears around here. If you go around certain clubs, lots of bears in those clubs.
Lots of
Lots
bears.
of bears.
There's lots of cougars.
I was trying to explain to one of my American friends just how dumb our laws are because
Yeah, they're dumb.
his daughter wanted to carry something for defense, and I had to explain to them that, well, you can use a weapon to defend yourself. You're not allowed to possess a weapon until the moment that you are allowed to defend yourself.
Correct. Same thing with bear defense.
Yeah, gets it, dude.
Okay.
Ridiculous stupids. Anyway.
Next up, from Jason. Hey, gang. 2 quick questions. Adriel mentioned finding some really cheap 22 ammo on the last podcast. Where did I find this 250 per 50 ammo? That was at Cabela's. Cabela's had some federal ammo for that. And if you buy in bulk, you can get that price for other places as well. Like the federal standard velocity, if you look for it and you get it in bulk, you can get it for right around 7 cents a round, which isn't 250 per 50, but it's pretty close, and it's like better ammo. Or Blazer. Blazer's also one that you can find from time to time at a really good price, and it'll be better ammo.
Then yes.
Yep. He also asks, where can I buy a Slamfire radio hat, shirt, and patch? Keep up the good work. Thanks, Jason B. Well, if you become a Patreon, maybe I'll send you a patch. It really depends on
Hey,
how far behind I am, which at this
Adriel.
point is very far behind.
how many shirts you got there?
I got a lot. Hey, Jason,
Do
are
want
you
some
in
more?
Alberta?
No, Jason is in Ontario and he's pretty close to me.
Okay. Do you want to give him a shirt? You probably have
I'll-
a couple.
I have
you want more?
one or no, I
No?
don't. I'm packing stuff and sending it back to you with
No.
the shirts in it.
No. One way. They come from my house and they leave.
Jason, I'll send you an email and get your address. I'll ship it out to you. Shouldn't
Nice.
cost too much to send it out. Or
Yeah.
we'll probably meet up if this stuff ever ends. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kelly, did you want to take
No.
this next? No.
No.
No. Dave, did you want to take the next one? From Bill?
Sure. Why not? From Bill P. Hey, guys, and Kelly. The nighttime podcast host Jordan missed the most critical part about the Nova Scotia shooting. Without a doubt, and for some reason they never disclose this information anymore, that psychotropic drugs are behind these shootings. They, the quote-unquote authorities and government gun grabbers, want the public to think Jimmy decided on a whim to grab his Johnny 7 AR-15 lookalike and go out and shoot as many people as he could. Not until he filled up on pills. That is why these shooters can do this to innocent people. When they are on these drugs, they have no soul, no conscience. Great show, Bill. I don't know, dude.
So I read a McLean's article that I think Trevor shared with us a little bit earlier today. There are a bunch of crazy things in that article, a bunch of crazy accusations. So maybe pills, maybe some other stuff. Like there's a bunch of weird, maybe he's a Hell's Angel informant. That was thrown in there.
There is a lot of conspiracy theories going around right now. A lot.
And then the code on the back of the car, 2B11 or something like that, if you Google it, it's an antibody being used around this coronavirus testing. something like that. Am I getting this right? Am I getting it wrong? I might be
Yeah.
getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Anyways, more interesting
Just
stuff
play
coming
5G
on that.
towers.
Hey, you know
Yeah.
where I bet that you can learn all about all the crazy conspiracy theories that are rolling around about this?
Reddit?
The Nighttime Podcast. I bet you George is
Yeah.
going to cover it.
By the way, I listened to all 4 episodes of his coverage of this. They were pretty good.
I'm going to check those out. But
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
You know what would actually make this a little bit clearer if they did the investigation like they were saying, or the
They should have done
inquiry.
a public inquiry from the start, and the longer
Government
they take
does not help
to not do a public
conspiracy
inquiry,
theories.
the longer it shows that some weird stuff's going on that they just don't want coming to the light. There already is. Like you can already see there already is some weird stuff that they're trying to hush about, and they should have just done a public inquiry to start with. And the longer they go without doing it, it's just more and more suspicious.
Yeah. They're at 650 right now for people that they've interviewed. So
Why not just go public inquiry? What do you, like, what even is that investigation anymore? What are they investigating? Where he found the uniforms, maybe?
Well, they know where he found the uniforms.
Where I don't know. Where did he get them?
They said that he got the uniforms through his family members.
I thought they interviewed them and they cleared them.
No. And then the decals were printed, and that was that whole McLean's article with whole...
By the way, this guy who printed these decals was part of this criminal gang syndicate. He doesn't work for the decal place anymore. Interesting. I don't know if this is related. It probably isn't. But interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
if you
thanks, Bill.
if you want to send in
A
some
lot of crazy
emails to the show and get us going on conspiracy theories, send an email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Podcast
we'll
app
run
reviews.
it by our editors, the aliens on the dark side of the moon, and if they approve of this, we'll run it by the Illuminati, and then we'll go live.
We don't have editors. We never have editors. We don't know.
That's right, Adriel. We
Yes.
don't have editors.
We take your emails.
Heard of.
And we post. The emails just mysteriously get deleted before we even see them.
That's my job. Okay.
That's your job.
Yes.
Kelly is the Illuminati. Good to know.
Yes,
Hey, has anyone-
I'm the gatekeeper.
Has anyone
Kelly
reviewed us
Illuminati.
on Facebook? Has anyone reviewed the page on Facebook?
No.
Are you sure there's a thing? Are people trying to do this and we just like don't know how to do it? I don't know if it's a thing or not. I don't see where to
Make
review
a comment. People make comments.
Mhm.
So make a comment.
But that's not the thing, is a review.
No,
I don't think you can review the page.
I don't know.
Anywho,
Anyways.
I don't know. Share the page or something. That'd be neat. Patreon supporters. You can help support the show by going to patreon.com/Slamfire Radio. You can also help us by visiting our website and going through the links on Cabela's. And I still don't know if that's going to work in a month or no. It might not. Shout outs.
Oh yeah. No updates on that? The whole Cabela's.
I will procrastinate until it's like due date tomorrow, and then I'll figure it out.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kelly, shoutouts.
Okay, so Rick Crane, happy birthday. It's his birthday today. Just wanted to give him a shout out. Also, Sean and Kurt from the previous Gunning Around podcast, they've launched a new podcast. It's called First Focal Plane. Go and listen to them when they are up and running. So they're about to get started. So
Cool.
Just wanted to say congratulations to those guys on getting a new podcast up and running.
Awesome. I thought they were going to interview some Saskatchewan conservative politician.
They are.
Yeah. Interesting.
They
Cool.
are interviewing him about the whole municipal thingy.
Excellent.
They're gotten, well, the previous podcast had some really good guests, and
Mhm.
I'm sure that the new podcast will also have some
Yep.
both political as well as gun related. Okay. Anyways,
Dave?
I like the name.
Shout outs to Andrew and all the Ragnarok Tactical guys who put on apparently an excellent pistol match, an NSCC pistol match at Guelph last weekend. Heard it was really good. And apparently it's posted somewhere on Canadian Gun Nuts, although I don't see it, but I guess go look on Gun Nuts. There's more pistol matches coming up at Guelph. It's good
I
fun.
saw some pictures. Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out for a similar thing. The 3-gun guys, Chris and all the guys, they put on a 3-gun match last weekend, and supposedly it went very well, even with the new Clipazine division and all the other fun stuff that they've had to change just to allow people to compete. So it apparently went really well. Denis, do you have any shout outs?
Well, I guess to all my customers, everybody who's been supporting me for the past 5 years.
Yay!
Yeah, I'd like to give you a shout out too. Thanks for coming on the show and sticking with us for the full show and participating. It's for a lot of people, there's a lot of uncertainty right now, and I think being able to have someone check the FRT and take a look, it's been a big help, and I think people appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I do get a lot of messages, people asking to check this model, but no, it's fine. Well, I mean, I don't mind it. I understand people are worried, and
maybe you should just offer, spend $20, get a free FRT lookup.
Yeah.
Look it up free if you buy it. If you buy the gun, I'll look it up first.
After you pay.
After you pay. Sorry, it's prohibited. I have to give it to you now. You've purchased it. It's prohibited now. Good luck. Please join our national firearms associations like the CCFR. They're going to need your help to field out those legal challenges and stick it to the government. Check us out on Gun Owners of Canada. Like us on Facebook, and reach out to your city councilor now to talk about municipal handgun bans so that you can stop any kind of shenanigans happening in the near future. And we'll see you next week.
Time to get a gun.